What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a few weeks, almost 2, since I've posted a video. So unfortunately, the pregnancy vlogs are done, obviously. So this vlog is going to be the story about my labor and delivery. A lot of you guys have been asking how it went, and you guys know bits and pieces, but you don't know all of the details, so I figured I would share with you. On Monday, July the 15th, I was supposed to get induced at 8 o'clock, and we were gonna go to the hospital and start the induction process that night. I woke up on the morning of July the 15th, had gotten up to use the bathroom, came back in the bed, and my back was bothering me really, really bad. I was trying to get comfortable, and I went to turn over, and I just felt this huge pop right in this area. It kind of felt like she was like elbowing me or jabbing me or something, but it felt different than normal. So I had gotten up to walk it off because I was like, oh, well, you know, maybe it was just her not wanting me to lay back down. I had walked back in the bathroom and I felt a small, like, gush, very small. And I was like, that's interesting. And the next thing I know, I am just flowing like a water hose. I mean, consistently, like water. Lots of water all over my bathroom floor, all over my shorts, all over everywhere. I immediately knew it was my water and I freaked out. I had thought that it was gonna be quick if I didn't get to the hospital. That is a lie, obviously, but we'll get to that. You know, I reached out to Gail and I was like, hey, I'm in labor, like my water just broke, we need to go. Went and woke Billy up, told him, hey, my water broke, like get up, load the car, we gotta go. My mom, she was staying with us, so I came downstairs, got her, told her my water broke. She got up, started getting dressed, was helping me because I could barely get off the toilet longer than like 5 minutes without it just continuing to come. It was something out of a movie. It was crazy, and everybody told me that it wasn't gonna be like that, but it definitely was. I was told that it would probably be like trickles and like a small gush at a time, and that might be my water breaking, and no, my water dramatically broke. So with that being said, I went through 4 pair of disposable underwear before I even left the house. So I decided to throw a pair of those on and wrap myself in a towel and just ride to the hospital with no pants on. Thought that would just be better for everybody because I was gonna go through pants anyway. So we patted the car real good, and then we left. And my water broke, excuse me, at 7-Eleven. So we got to the hospital about 8:30, 8:45. And I ended up actually having more water come out while I was in my Jeep. So it was all in my seat, all over my floor. They came and got me in a wheelchair and rolled me into triage just to check me and see what was going on. They put the contraction monitors on me just to check, make sure she was doing good. They gave me an IV. As you can see, this bruise here, they blew the first one out, and then they gave me another one in my wrist, and they had checked me when I got there, and I was at a 1, but my water had definitely broken. So they got the doctor in there, they got me moved to a room, and then we started the process. So I ended up getting my epidural very early. I did not want to feel any pain. I was so nervous. I did not know what to expect as far as like pain and as far as like, you know, just anything because I've never had a baby before. So as soon as I got my blood work back, I was like, please bring me the epidural. Like, I want to go ahead and get it in, you know, whatever. So they do that. They come in and do the epidural. And I have a panic attack. I was fine. I just freaked out because I didn't know how it was going to feel. And it was not that bad. It literally, the lidocaine shot felt like a bee sting. And then after that, I didn't feel anything. It was fine. A lot better than what I expected. Because the way that they sound and the way that they look, you would think they'd be terrifying. And I had no problem with it. It was just the initial factor of getting it that scared me. And then once it hit, it hit. Legs were numb. Butt was numb. It was great. So then after that, they waited till I was good and numb, and they gave me a Foley catheter just to make sure that my bladder wasn't putting any pressure on the baby. And I was nervous about that too. Cried during that. But that, I didn't even feel that. So that was fine. And then after that, they kept coming back to check me, and I was slowly progressing. I had taken some Cytotec, which is to thin your cervix out. So they had me put that in my cheek. Since my water broke, they couldn't give it to me vaginally, which is the way they usually give Cytotec. So they put that in my cheek, had come back and checked me later, and I was at a 3. So then by that time, they gave me Pitocin because they wanted to ramp up my contractions, kind of to see if that would help me dilate a little quicker. And once they gave me that, I started to kind of feel the contractions again, so they had to come in and give me another dose on my epidural. And then once they did that, I was numb, couldn't feel any contractions happening at all. And it was probably about an hour and a half, maybe 2, that my doctor decided to pop in. And she was like, hey, we're gonna put this internal monitoring thing up there just to kind of monitor contractions, see how intense they're getting, things of that nature. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So she's like, I'm gonna check you really quick and then we'll go from there. I was like, okay. So she goes to check me and she's like, actually, we're not gonna do that anymore. And I'm like, okay. And she tells me I'm dilated to a 9. And I'm like, oh, that was fast. So she said she wanted to give it about an hour, let me get fully dilated, and then we would start pushing and doing all the things. An hour goes by, they check me, I'm fully dilated, and they're in the middle of shift change, so they switch shifts. And then the nurse that comes in, she's like, okay, we're gonna push, we're ready. So I'm like, okay. And this was the part that I was most nervous about. You guys know that, because I didn't know what to expect. So she's guiding me through how to push. I've got the nurse down there. Billy's on one side, my mom's on the other. They're holding my legs up for me so I can push. And honestly, the pushing part wasn't terrible at first. You know, I would have a contraction and I could feel it and it would not feel great, but when I would bear down, it would get better. Like, it would kind of just even each other out. So I started pushing at 7:10. I pushed until I pushed for a while, and I pushed for 3.5 hours total, I think, like a little over 3.5. So I was pushing and I couldn't get her head past my pelvic bone. Well, my doctor comes in and she's like, hey, I would like, if you're willing, to try to vacuum her out. And I was like, okay, you know, is that going to do anything to her? Is that going to do anything to me? And she basically was like, no, there's a slight chance that she could have a brain bleed, but that's very, 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 very little. It's like, okay. So I asked her if I could just try to push first and then we could try that. She said that was fine. So as I'm pushing, it gets to a point where I'm having so much pressure in my butt and my hips. After every contraction where I'm pushing and I quit, I start to have these cramps in my butt, my back, and my hips, and it's terrible. And so then they ended up having to give me another round of pain medicine because I couldn't tolerate it. And then once I got that, I did decide to let her do the vacuum because I was over it. I was ready for them to get her out of me. So we push like 3 times, we get the head out, and then they realized the cord was wrapped around her neck twice, so they had to undo that. Well, then as I'm pushing again, her shoulder gets stuck, which they kind of warned me about that ahead of time because Billy is so much bigger than me, and I am obviously smaller than him. So they said when that happens, because I'm a smaller person, that it is possible for the baby to get stuck with the shoulders. Thankfully, her shoulder didn't break or anything. They were able to move from the back and get it to come through. But that was definitely scary, and I didn't know about that until after she was out. And then, yeah, and then once her shoulder came out, I was able to push her through, and she ended up giving me a 2nd-degree tear. So I had to get stitches, and that was not fun, but that wasn't nearly as bad as pushing her out. I felt the entire thing from her head all the way out. So I don't know if my epidural wore off or what had happened, but I literally felt every bit of it, and it was traumatic. And on top of that, I was in so much pain. I was literally screaming at the top of my lungs. I was begging them to get her out of me. I was crying. It was really bad. I had my mom and Billy's mom, Gail. I had her all tore up. And then Billy, of course, was stressed because there was nothing that he could do other than just kind of be there. And he ended up getting sick, and that's why, because he was so stressed out over the fact that like there was nothing he could do for me. But once she came out, we heard that first cry and we all cried, every one of us. And of course, once she got out and the pressure relieved itself, I was like, oh my God, I'm never doing this again. And now that I am almost 2 weeks postpartum, I can tell you that I will be doing this again. I want another one. So, but yeah, so it was pretty traumatic. You know, I was terrified. I never thought that that would be what would happen. And of course, you know, the labor went completely not the way that we planned. But little Sage was born that night at 10:53 p.m. She was 8 pounds and 4 ounces, and she was 21.5 inches long. Came out cheesing with her tongue out, you know, all the personality in the world. And mom and dad are just smitten over her. We love her so much, and she is just the perfect little addition to our family. So yeah, and that's really all I have. I mean, that's basically everything that happened. We were in the hospital from Monday morning until Wednesday afternoonish, like noon. And we're just, you know, trying to get adjusted, get on a schedule, and get used to having our new little one around. And yeah. So I'm planning on trying to do some mom vlogs and things, and just doing other vlogs in general now that my pregnancy updates are over. I hope you guys continue to watch me, and I hope that you guys continue to hang with us and, you know, be around. I'm excited for this new journey of motherhood, and I'm excited for you guys to watch my little girl grow up. Oh. Yes, ma'am, I'm talking about you. Little stank face. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will answer them, I guess, next video I make. So thanks for watching, and you guys have a great day.